from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right, I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish, speaking to you from the Built Ford Tough studio, FedEx Forum, downtown Memphis. Bennett Doyle right there producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope you didn't think the Memphis Grizzlies would go up to Boston this weekend and lose inside TD Garden just because that's what they had done 10 straight times, just because they ain't won there since 2013. Because if you thought that was a stupid thing to think. That was a stupid thing to think, particularly when we got the update that the top of the roster was going to be healthy and ready for tip-off. Grizz won in Boston on Saturday, won in Washington on Sunday. 17-8 now, alone in second in the West, fourth best record in the NBA. I think it's all good stuff, Bennett. I think it's all good stuff right now. We'll talk about it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. In the next segment, about 20 minutes, Michael Lee's going to join me. He hosts SportsCenter for ESPN. And he's going to be here to discuss, among other things, the biggest news in the entire world this weekend. Superstar outfielder Juan Soto has agreed to a deal with the New York Mets. 15 years, $765 million. It's the richest contract in professional sports. It ain't my money. I'm just going to enjoy it. I can't wait to talk to Michael Lees about it. He's going to be here in 20 minutes. Finish talking to Mike. We'll turn our attention to Tiger basketball. Rough afternoon inside FedEx Forum yesterday. Lost to Arkansas State. That's a quad 3 loss that dropped the Tigers to 48th in the net. I'll share some more not so great numbers with you. We'll do that in about 40 minutes. When we finish that, take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, the college football playoff bracket is set. SMU in, Alabama out. SEC's big mad. I'll tell you the biggest issues facing the selection committee. We'll do that around 11 o'clock. Golden Globe nominations were unveiled this morning. I'm going to get Bennett to run us through them. We're going to do that in the second hour. Kirk Herbstreit's son, who's a heralded quarterback prospect coming out of high school, he has committed to Michigan. This is interesting because his pops, Kirk, he's an Ohio State grad. We'll spend some time on that story. We'll do that in just a bit. We got a new Dear Jane to discuss.
Okay.
This one comes from a man. He's concerned about his wife. I'll tell you why. I'll read it to you. We'll do that a little later on in the show. And Rick Barnes, Tennessee Vols are expected to move to number 1 in the AP poll later today. SEC continues to be super strong in men's basketball. We'll tip our hat to the folks over in Knoxville. We'll do that in a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know. Then we'll eventually do GP's Carryout and call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to, but I did want to start with your Memphis Grizzlies because games 24 and 25 were both played this weekend, both on the road. Game 24 in Boston. Game 25, that was in Washington. The Grizz won both, with the bigger of the two clearly coming Saturday inside TD Garden, where Marcus Smart got an incredible ovation from the fans of his former franchise and then missed 10 of the 11 shots he attempted in the game. But whatever. Like, who cares about that, right? Doesn't matter.
Well, you got to bring that up.
Well, because that's the thing I was most looking forward to on Saturday night. Like, I love stuff like that. I love Marcus Smart walking out of the tunnel, getting the ovation, waving to familiar faces, then him checking in for the first time in the first quarter, gets another incredible ovation. I was like, man, look at this. This is sweet. I know Marcus Smart probably feels some kind of way about being traded from the franchise that he called home for so long, traded by a franchise where the fan base, they tell me they're going to love him forever. He gets shipped off to Memphis. Everybody gets hurt. Celtics win a championship. I know he must feel some kind of way, but man, I bet you that was nice to walk back in TD Garden and get that type of ovation on Saturday night. That's what I was looking forward to doing, and I thought it was a sweet moment. And then he went 1 of 11 from the field. But here's the good news. Bennett, I got good news if you just let me share it with you. I got good news. Here's the good news. It doesn't matter when Marcus Smart goes 1 of 11 from the field as long as Jaren Jackson goes 11 of 19 John Morant goes 11 of 20, and Brandon Clark goes 9 of 11. If you do that, you're good. In fact, you ready for this? The Grizz starters in Boston Saturday combined to shoot 39 of 68 from the field. That's 57.4% against the reigning champs. We'll take that every night. And the result on Saturday night, the byproduct, was a 127-121 victory over the Celtics, representing the Grizzlies' first win in Boston since November 2013. Before Saturday, the Grizz had lost 10 straight games in Boston, but you probably noticed on the broadcast, Brevin Knight made sure John Morant was very aware of this. Ja said, say less, I'll handle it. Responded with 32 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. In a season high, I like this, season high 34 minutes. We're moving the right direction. He also delivered a viral dunk just days after promising anybody who would listen that he's no longer even trying to dunk. Imagine being able to do this when you're not even trying. Think about what it's like to be able to do that when you're not even trying.
It was pretty good. I mean, the reverse, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Most
throw it down.
Most people can't do that when they try. Ja tells us he's not even trying to dunk anymore, and that's just the type of stuff he still does on his own. Imagine being able to do that without even trying. It's like opening up your mouth and being able to sing like Whitney Houston without even trying. Can you imagine having that ability? Most people that can't sing, and the ones who can genuinely have to work at it. Imagine saying, I'm not even trying to sing, but then you sing like Whitney Houston. Isn't that crazy? That's what John Morant does. He's not even trying to sing, but he sings like Whitney Houston or Luther Vandross, or whoever it is you prefer. He's not even trying to dunk, and he's dunking like that. I thought his explanation after the game, while talking to Rob Fisher, the great Rob Fisher, I thought it made perfect sense. Rob was like, explain yourself, young man. You told us you ain't dunking no more. We just watched you dunk. It's already gone viral. I'm sure the NBA will set out some tweet in the coming days saying, and more people clicked on that than they clicked on anything anybody else ever does, because the greatest athlete in the world happens to call Memphis home, right? Rob Fisher said, hey, you told us, you looked me right in my eyes and said you ain't dunking no more, all right? Now you just do this. Explain yourself, young man. You know what Josh said? If I didn't dunk it, it was going to get blocked. I really do think that was an example where he isn't trying to dunk. He just recognized once he got in the air, the only way to score this is to dunk it, so that's what I have to do. Think about it in baseball terms. You never want to throw somebody out from your knees, do you? They don't teach you that when you're 7. My kid's 8 now. He's playing baseball. We've never had one drill where third basemen are throwing off of their knees at the age of 7 or 8 years old. Like, that ain't something we're working on yet, right? Nobody, that's not the plan ever, to fill the ball and throw somebody out from your knees. But watch baseball enough. You'll see it happen all the time. And you know why it happens every time it happens? Because the fielder, let's call it third base here, goes into the hole, gets a ball, and recognizes the only way to get this out. What am I trying to accomplish right here? I'm trying to get an out. The only way to get this out under these circumstances I find myself in is to throw this ball from my knees. So I'm about to throw this ball from my knees. I didn't want to. This ain't ideal, but the only way to maybe get this out, and I might not get it, but the only way to get it is to throw the ball from my knees. So here goes. And that's how that happens. That's exactly what happened to John Morant in basketball terms on Saturday. What are you trying to do here? In baseball, you're trying to get the out. In basketball, you're trying to get the bucket. What are you trying to do here? Get the bucket. All right. How are you going to do that? Well, I find myself in a situation with a Kristaps Porzingis there. I find myself in a situation where the only way I'm going to be able to score this, do what I'm trying to do, isn't to throw the ball from my knees, although he does have an alley-oop from his butt already in this season. But that's sort of similar. You don't plan to throw alley-oops on your butt, but when you're on your butt, that's the only way you can get it done. So you get that done. What are you trying to do here in Boston? I'm trying to score this bucket. I find myself in a situation with the Porzingis there. The only way to do this is to dunk it. And that's how you get a dunk, and it goes viral. So now the Grizz are 17-8 overall, 9-1 in their last 10, alone in second in the West, only 2 games back of Oklahoma City. They got the second best record in the West, 4th best record in the NBA, top of the roster, is healthy. And John Dez, and I know we prefer them to play always, but it's kind of nice when you can, after a nice victory in Boston, set them down in Washington, still win comfortably, still get Yuki in the game, no problem. And now the Grizzlies are off until Friday when the evil Brooklyn Nets enter FedEx Forum to take the ass whipping that we owe them. Don't you think we owe the Nets an ass whipping, Bennett, when you think about it?
Sure, yeah.
Given what they did to us earlier in the season multiple times?
Yeah, that's true. We lost both of those, didn't we?
Do they deserve an ass whipping? That's what I think.
Probably so.
I think we owe them one. In all seriousness, what a nice place to be. I know we ride the waves of this thing. Game 1, Game 2, Game 3, Game 4, oblique strain, turned ankle, everybody's hurt. Where's Zach Edey? Not Vince again. Gigi's still not ready. We've lived this. It hasn't been perfect. But look at us now, Bennett. It's December 9th, 17-8, 25 games through the season, 17-8, 9-1 in the last 10. Top of the roster, is healthy, off till Friday, alone in second in the West, fourth best record in the NBA. It's a good place to be, Bennett.
Yeah, it's all good. Saturday was awesome. It was, I think, too, like, you mentioned, like, Ja played 34 minutes. Man, they knew they just had to get that thing off their back, that Boston thing. Like, they've had the worst. They've had the worst record against that team, I think, than any team in the league since the franchise began. I'm pretty sure that's the team that they have. Maybe
you could probably say that about a lot of franchises, but I get your point.
At least in the East, because maybe in the West you play teams more, so maybe it's. But we all can acknowledge they've had the worst, the least amount of success against that Boston franchise, and so to get that off your back and win in Boston was super cool. I was actually down here at the Billy Strings concert, so I was watching it like on the TVs and on my phone the whole time. But it was just great to see, man. It was great to see. Everything about it was awesome. That was the win of the year. I mean, it really was. That was the best win of the season.
Clearly best win of the season. And I think clearly a departure from what they've been doing, perhaps what they'll continue to do. I think you touched on something important there. They recognized, and whoever they is, but let's start with Taylor Jenkins because he's the face of it, recognized we have an opportunity to get this done.
Yes.
Let's do it.
We're in this game. Let's do this. Yes.
I do not think it's a coincidence that John Morant played a season high 34.
I don't either.
And that Jaren also played 34 and that Des played 33. This has been a point of contention with some Grizzlies fans throughout the season. Why, when we play the Mavericks, do Luka and Kyrie play more minutes than our best players play? Why, when we play almost everybody, do their best players play more minutes than our best players play? Like, imagine, again, I'll go back to baseball. If you were the Dodgers and every time you played the Yankees best players played all 9 innings, but for whatever reason your manager took out Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani in the 7th every game. You'd be like, well, and they'd explain to you, well, there's a strategy to this long term. We know what we're doing. And you'd be like, okay, I hear you, but I'd rather just see Shohei Ohtani get one more at bat.
Right.
You know, if Ronald Acuna is going to get 5 at bats a game for the Braves, I'd like for Shohei to get those same at bats.
Yeah.
This is what we've been dealing with a little bit. I understand you know what you're doing. I understand there's a long-term strategy in place. I get it. It doesn't make it any less frustrating when you're watching a lead evaporate in the 4th when your best players are on the bench and the other team's best players are on the court. This has been a thing. And it looked like on Saturday night, you know what they said? We're not doing that tonight.
No.
We're winning this game.
Yeah, we got to win this game.
Or at least we're going to lose this game with John Morant playing a season-high 34 minutes, with Jaren Jackson getting 34, and with Des also getting 33. This wasn't going to be one of those games. Once they knew it's there, we're in the 4th, it's here, we can grab this. Because there have been other games where it's here, they can grab it, and they just said, okay, but we'll bring Ja back. Give us 2 more minutes, and then we'll bring Ja back. Give us 3 more minutes, then we'll bring Jaren back. This felt like one where they said, we can grab this, win here for the first time in more than 10 years, beat the reigning champs, send a real message to the league. Let's go get this. They went and got it. Whatever their long-term strategies are, they very briefly, perhaps temporarily, put it aside to go make sure they got that thing done in Boston, And I applaud them for it.
Yeah, for sure. And so then, like last night when first off, when I saw that John Dez were out last night, honestly, I'm not even kidding. My first reaction was they are about to blast the Wizards. That's what I thought when I saw that.
You know what I think? And then we'll get out of here because we got Michael Leach coming up.
Yeah.
But some of this is mental stuff. Like, obviously, you're better with John Dez than without them, right?
Yeah, of course.
But there is also like a letdown factor among star players. And you just won in Boston the night before. Now you've got to travel to D.C. You're playing a bad team. It's like you could see stars come out flat.
Yeah.
You go from a jam-packed arena, Boston Celtics, empty arena to that.
Yeah.
And it's like, but you just say, hey, you guys, and I know this wasn't the motivating factor.
No.
But you say, okay, now we're going to give real minutes to people who maybe didn't get real minutes yesterday and who are still good enough to beat the Wizards. You a little more focused and let's go get them.
Yeah.
And they just, handle it.
I thought they knew going into that game when they were sitting both those guys. I just felt like they know they can get this. They just know that this Wizards team is inept and they're going to handle it.
And if they wouldn't have got it, we'd be talking about something different right now.
Sure.
Hey, you just gave one back. Perhaps unnecessarily.
Right.
But all's well that ends well. They got it done. 9-1 in the past 10, 17-8 overall, alone in second in the West. We'll talk more Grizzlies later. When we come back, turn our attention to Major League Baseball, where Juan Soto has agreed to join the New York Mets. Michael Eaves was talking about it on SportsCenter last night. I'll talk to him about it next.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st. And you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Southland Casino Hotel is helping you navigate to Santa. Win your share of up to $340,000 in free play or a 2024 Lincoln Navigator. Here Comes Santa kicks off November 24th. Get one free entry and earn additional entries for weekly Saturday drawings. Don't forget the grand finale drawing on Saturday, December 21st to win up to $5,000 in free play or a 2024 Lincoln Navigator. Win big during Here Comes Santa, only at Southland Casino Hotel.
Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quoting, call 800-522-4700.
Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals takes it straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Can't wait. It's time to get it popping. It's going to be crazy. The fans are going to be loud. We need just energy.
Behind the back to Jared for the flush.
We're going to need, the form rocking. We're going to need, everybody in Memphis to be out there to come to support. When the fans are good, we're good. Simple as that.
A Bane three. Yes, sir. Desmond Bane with ice water in his veins.
We'll ride the energy together.
They Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Looking for a fun way to get your child active and involved with the Memphis Grizzlies? Ball out on the Grizzlies home court at Junior Grizzlies Game Day Clinics. Presented by Ortho South. Get your game ready for the big leagues. The first Junior Grizzlies Clinic tips off November 25th before the Grizzlies versus Trailblazers game. Take your child's skills to the next level by signing up at grizzlies.com/Junior Grizzlies. That's grizzlies.com/Junior Grizzlies. Don't miss out.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. On Mondays in the second segment, I'm joined by ESPN's Michael Eaves. You saw him hosting SportsCenter last night. He's here with me right now. Michael Eaves, it's GP. How are you on this Monday morning?
Bro, you are all decked out in all things Mets right now.
I'm fired up. I watched you guys last night. I know Sunday Night SportsCenter, that is largely going to be NFL, but you guys had to dedicate time. You brought Jeff Passan in. 15 years, $765 million. The Mets and Juan Soto have reached an agreement. It's the richest contract in professional sports. Your reaction to it was what?
Well, look, it was the decision that had to be made during the free agency period in baseball, right? He was the number one guy on the market, so what would happen with him would dictate how everything fell in behind it, right? At least for position players, obviously. And the only question would be, would he get more money than Shohei Ohtani got? Now, his contract is completely different because Shohei has so much deferred money where this one does not have any whatsoever. But when you think about where the market is and where baseball is, this is a generational talent. And we reminded people that last night, going all the way back to his first major league hit at 19 years old. And that was a home run in just a second at bat. He's already a four-time All-Star. He's already won a batting crown, and he's 26 years old. So he was going to get top dollar. The only question would be how much farther would it increase, and would it actually get to maybe $800 million? And several teams are involved. Obviously, the Yankees wanted to keep him. They tried to get right there. The Dodgers had some interest, the Blue Jays. But it was Steve Cohen and that ownership group there in New York that clearly said, we are going to make a move right now that could determine our next 10 to 15 years. And Juan Soto was that guy. If there's one guy out there that could get that money, it's Juan Soto.
I don't, as a Mets fan, I just don't think 15-year contracts are ever good, or they're rarely good. But that just means at 41 years old in 2039, 40, in that range, he'll be making $51 million. Do we even know what $51 million looks like in 15 years from now? Yeah,
absolutely not.
15 years ago, the biggest annual average value contract in baseball was A-Rod, and it was $27.5 million. So in a span of 15 years, we've gone from $27.5 million to now Juan Soto is going to be making $51. By the time he's in year 15 of this contract, the best players in baseball could be making $100 million. It might not be that much.
Absolutely. And I think someone will make $100 million by then, and we'll probably have our first billion-dollar contract before 15 years, to be honest. But here's the deal. Juan Soto will not see the end of this 15-year contract because in 5 years he's going to opt out of it and then sign a new deal, and that yearly value will probably increase to more than $60 million, quite honestly. But, from a structure standpoint, and you're trying to justify spending that much money, you've got to put it out over, 10, 15 years. Just for planning purposes, obviously. But everybody knows, the team and Juan Soto's representatives know that in 5 years he's going to opt out of that contract to increase whatever the last 10 years of that deal could be. So when today's age, when there's long-term contracts, anytime there's an opt-out, that's the only thing that really matters. In NFL, the only thing that matters is the guaranteed money. In other contracts, when is the opt-out year? Because that's what you're really talking about. Because everyone, barring some, tragic injury, is going to opt out of that deal and renegotiate the final 10 years.
In some circles, the Yankees are being criticized, specifically Hal Steinbrenner, because they did more or less on some level get outbid by their crosstown rivals who are now operating like the big market franchise they have forever been, but have never until now had an owner with that mindset and this type of incredible wealth. On one hand, I get it. On the other hand, it kind of feels like the Yankees could have kept going. And at the end of the day, Cohen was never going to stop. And Soto was going to be a Met. Do the Yankees deserve the criticism they're getting right now?
I personally don't believe so.
Yeah.
I really don't. And granted, because of their history and the history of their ownership group, that's where a lot of that criticism comes from. But they're also paying Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, and Garrett Cole, right? Those are not small contracts, right? So those guys alone are demanding top dollar and a lot of money. Where the Mets right now have Lindor. They don't even have Pete Alonso under contract right now. Obviously, they do want to keep him. But it's a totally different payroll situation with the Mets and the Yankees. Now, Yankee fans just feel like, they're superior to everybody and how dare someone pay more money than we can. But it's not like the Yankees didn't give Juan Soto a very attractive contract. They even gave him an actual additional year, even though the yearly value of that contract was slightly less based on that extra year and what they offered him at $760 or whatever it was. But that's a really good offer to someone. But to your point, Gary, sometimes someone's just going to outbid you because they want it more. But that doesn't mean you should overextend yourself for the sake of your entire roster in some bidding war with a team crosstown.
Let's switch to college basketball. It was an interesting weekend, a lot of upsets. Your Kentucky Wildcats were a part of one up in Seattle. They're now 8-1. They just beat the Zags, not in Spokane, but in Washington State. Mike, if I were voting for National Coach of the Year right now, my vote would go to Mark Pope. His top 9 scorers are all first-year transfers in the program. You are not supposed to be able to build successful basketball teams this way. Literally nobody did it last season this way. Is it too early to say this, or do you believe what I'm saying without interpreting as a shot at anybody else? But if you give a brilliant basketball mind incredible NIL resources, this is the type of thing you can get. Is that what we're watching right now?
I believe so. Now, granted, it is just 10 games into the season. You don't want to jump too far ahead of yourself. But the expectations were very low compared to where Kentucky has started the season right now. And to your point, like, this has not been done before. But we're also in a period of college basketball that never existed, really, right? And I said this on social media earlier today because I was just thinking about that game, but also the Duke game and some other things that have transpired so far. One thing you can say about Mark Pope, and I will say this again. When he was hired, he's not the person I would have hired, but Kentucky was in a certain situation that Mitch Barnhart wasn't prepared when Calipari left because they had agreed that he was going to stay. Now you're in scramble mode. All these people are saying no. Who do you go get? You get some guy who played for your program. He's had some moderate success at a smaller school in BYU. You get Mark Pope. Having said that, one thing is readily apparent. Mark Pope can coach his ass off.
Yes.
Because you don't be down to Duke in the second half and come back and win that game the way Kentucky did, or you certainly don't do it against Mark Few and Gonzaga. Gonzaga had won, 175 straight games when leading by 10 or more at halftime. And granted, this game was in Seattle, but it was a basic home game for Gonzaga. And Kentucky was down 16 or 18, whatever it was, and they came back and won in overtime. That doesn't happen. And Mark Pope has already had 2 top 10 wins this season where his team was trailing and they had to rally and make adjustments to win that game. That's a sign of a good coach. And if you have a good coach, to your point, and you get them the right resources, they're pretty much going to be successful. So now the thing is, Kentucky has much higher expectations for this season than it did before the season started. And now you're thinking to the future, like, oh, snap. Now if he can go get some players that have like NBA potential really off the jump, and he's got these resources, and he can coach the way he's shown so far, then Kentucky's like, oh, yeah, we're back to being Kentucky again.
Yeah, what happens when you've got this coach with this NIL and then like 2 lottery picks in the starting lineup as opposed to, like, they're just doing this with a bunch of good college basketball players. That's all it is.
Yeah. Now, I will say this. In today's modern age of college basketball, we've seen a change where it's not like Calipari's run with all the, the top lottery picks, and all of a sudden you're guaranteed to be in the Elite Eight. The game has changed in that regard, but I do believe if you look at UConn in the last 2 years, You still need those dudes that are going to be in school for maybe 3 years. But if you ain't got a top 10, top 15 stud out there when you need a bucket, then you're probably not going to win the championship either. You need the perfect combination of those players.
That's right. And, I wrote this earlier in the season. Mark Pope was not Kentucky's first choice, nor should he have been. If you could get Billy Donovan, you probably should have done that. If you could get Dan Hurley or Scott Drew, obviously makes sense. But he is showing himself already to be the perfect choice at Kentucky. And let me ask you this. Is it more fun? Because you guys have went through a thing where you had all the lottery picks, all the five-star prospects, and then sometimes it would meet expectations, 2012, 2015, up until the Final Four. Other years, I guess Cal overachieved, relative to, what was expected once the tournament started. But so often it was like, we've got all these dudes, and the team is just not what it should be. Now you don't have all the dudes, and the team is better than it should be. That's not something you guys have been able to enjoy. Is it fun doing it this way?
Let me say this. This season has been fun because the team is exceeding expectations. But Kentucky has a normal level of expectation that it's Elite Eight at least, and we should be in the Final Four every other year or something to that point. So that's where the fun as a Kentucky fan is, the expectation that we're challenging for a championship every single year. That's the fun we really enjoy, Gary, and we've been doing it for decades. But this is different just because the way the Calipari era ended, and you were like, all right, well, we got to build this thing, so we need to be patient. Like, oh, look at these young, scrappy guys. Oh, what a comeback against Duke. Oh, it's now we beat Gonzaga. Oh, wait, we're in the top 5 now. Can we actually – so now that is fun, but that's not the fun you want every year if you're a Kentucky fan.
Right.
No, we're going to enjoy this in the moment, and next year we expect to be in the top 5 when the preseason starts. We expect to be in the Final Four. That's right. Who we are.
That's right. In year one, when you just got to make the best roster you can make, and you didn't have access to the 5-star freshmen, a scrappy group that overachieves. This is enjoyable. Next year, you want to have the 5-star freshmen to go with the other college players and see if you can take it to whole place. But it's been awesome to watch. I'm happy you're getting to enjoy it. Turn our attention to the NFL. I saw you last night. You had Herm Edwards in studio with you. You guys were talking about the Chiefs right after Sunday Night Football. They win again. Off the crossbar, field goal post. If it bounces the wrong way, they lose. It bounces the right way, they win. Immediately, people go back to there they are again. They're not great. They're just lucky. Herb seemed like unconcerned, like they're winning in these moments. That says something about them. Where do you fall on that debate?
So, we've been talking about this for a while with this team because they've now won 15 straight games, including the playoffs, by games that score by one score or less, right? And that's the NFL record. It reminds me of the second three-peat Bulls, okay? That first year after Jordan came back from retirement, his first full year, they won 72 games, breezed through, da-da-da. But the last couple of years, when they played the Jazz in the finals, those are some hard-fought games, right? And even though they won in 6 games each time, but those are some hard-fought games. This team, whether they are doing it consciously, is definitely happening subconsciously. They know they don't have to ball out every single game to win, right? And they know, as does the opposing team, that if Patrick Mahomes has the ball with enough time and they're trailing, they're going to go down and score and win the game. So whether it's conscious or subconscious, you just sort of play to that. Once the playoffs start, I would assume that level would pick up. Now they're getting some players back. Isaiah Pacheco is back. He was injured for a long time. If they get even more healthy, then they're going to be the team that everyone fears. And right now they have a 2-game lead in the AFC for the number 1 seed. So even if Buffalo, who may have the MVP in Josh Allen, continues to play as well as they did besides that loss yesterday, they still got to come to Kansas City if they're going to get to the Super Bowl. All roads lead to Kansas City to get to the Super Bowl. So I'm not as concerned as I may have been a couple weeks ago just because I've given it more thought and just kind of, looked at how they've been playing. I mean, obviously it's better if you blow out teams when you can, but they don't feel like they have to because they always know they can win if they have the ball at the end.
That is Michael Eaves from ESPN. Make sure you're watching him on SportsCenter. Also follow him on Twitter and X. That's at Michael Eaves, at Michael Eaves. You're the best, buddy. I appreciate you being here. I'll talk to you next week.
All right, let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets. I'll see you later. Michael Eaves here on the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. That's where I'm at on the contract. It's not my money, and it doesn't impact the owner because he's worth more than $20 billion, one of the 100 wealthiest humans on the planet. And yeah, if we ever get to year 15, I might go, yeah, 41-year-old Juan Soto is not worth $51 million. But we get to year 15, and like Michael said, there's an opt-out after 5 years that Soto will probably do. The Mets can block the opt-out, if I read the contract correctly or the details of the contract correctly, by taking it from 51 a year to 55 a year. So we'll see. But my largest point is, by the time we get to Juan Soto's age 41 season, how much is $51 million even really? And I know that sounds crazy because all of these numbers sound crazy, but I think this is important to know. What feels like big money today isn't necessarily going to feel like big money 15 years from now. Like the point I said to Mike is true. 15 years ago, literally 15 years ago, the highest paid player in baseball on an annual average value perspective was Alex Rodriguez. He was making $27.5 million per year. Like, that's a lot of money, but $27.5 million a year, you don't even have to be one of the 10 best players in baseball today to make $27.5 million a year. So listen to where we're at. 15 years ago, the best player in baseball made $27.5 million a year. Next year, Juan Soto will make $51. It's like nearly doubled in 15 years, which you just keep playing that out. 15 years from now, the best player in baseball could be making $100 million. Easy. Michael Leaf said he thinks that will be the truth. So, yeah, I don't need 41-year-old Juan Soto on a contract for $51 million, but it will not look or feel as bad then as the idea of it sounds right now. And in the meantime, I mean, you get a generational talent. I think because Soto hasn't, hit 70 home runs and, done all the stuff that Aaron Judge has done in terms of home run stuff and Shohei has done in terms of home run stuff, that he's not thought of by maybe casual baseball fans in that this is one of the greatest hitters of all time. Like, all of the data supports this is one of the greatest hitters to ever hold a bat in the history of the world. The way he sees the ball out of the hand, his ability to draw walks, his ability to crush and punish mistakes. 26-year-old people with these types of accomplishments and this type of ability do not hit free agency in baseball almost ever. So this was always going to lead to something like this, as Jeff Passan explained on SportsCenter last night. But $765 million is still a lot bigger than a lot of people thought it would go. But what we found out is that the Red Sox, Yankees, and Mets, and I believe the Dodgers as well, were all willing to go above $700 million. Before it was like, would anybody do it? Well, now we know like at least 3 franchises were willing to do it. Because, again, this is a generational talent, particularly at the plate. I saw Sarah Langs last night tweeting various little facts connected to Juan Soto. I thought this one was interesting. No player has ever made an All-Star game no player has ever played in the All-Star game in 4 straight seasons representing 4 straight teams, 4 different teams rather. But Juan Soto has the chance to do that. He was an All-Star with the Nationals. Next year, Padres.
Yep.
This past season, Yankees. And hopefully in the next season with the Mets. Because he was with the Nationals. They decided they couldn't pay him.
Sure.
So they decided to move him for pieces. Goes to San Diego. That didn't materialize in terms of accomplishments, franchise accomplishments the way they wanted. They decide they're not going to be able to re-sign him. They move him to the Yankees. The Yankees try to, but ultimately get outbid by a super wealthy owner who decided this is what matters to me. And I don't mind the Yankees getting criticized because that's fun for Mets fans. I really don't know what they could have done. By all indications, Juan Soto decided he would rather play for the Mets than the Yankees. And you can say, well, the Yankees should have taken it up to $775. What do you think Steve Cohen was going to do when the Yankees did that?
Match it or go higher. I would love to dive into the psyche of Juan Soto and the decision behind it all. Like I would love to get some. I don't think he'll ever give people what like just the tell all of why I decided to go to the Mets, but it's fascinating.
Well, I've read everything there is to read.
Yeah.
I've watched all the stuff you could watch, and nobody gets very specific with it. But when it comes to these types of things, it could be anything. It could be, and we don't know these things, but it could be like he's. And I'm not even suggesting this. I'm just saying these are the type. It could be like he and Francisco Lindor have been
friends, yeah.
You know, have been talking privately about wanting to play each other since they were 19 years old.
Yeah.
It could be something as simple as he's got an issue with somebody in the Yankees organization or in that clubhouse, really loves living in the New York area, but is ready to get out of the Yankees. And so the Mets are willing to – so, hey, I can stay in New York, but I do get to change teams? Perfect. I'll do that. Like, it could be anything.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is obviously money. It's $765 million guaranteed. It's like he just won Mega Millions or Powerball, just like on a random Sunday night.
Crazy.
It's incredible money. And I think that is the biggest reason why he's now a New York Met. But it's not like the Mets were willing to go to a place the Yankees would not go. I mean, technically that's true, but the difference in money and years is very little here. He clearly decided he'd rather be a Met than a Yankee. And bless his heart. I'm glad he did that. Made me happy.
Yeah, I bet you are happy.
Look at me. I'm so happy.
Yeah, man.
I plan on being happy
good.
for at least the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
You know?
I wish y'all the best and health, obviously.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be fine. Don't worry about us.
Okay.
Don't worry about us. We're gonna be fine.
Good.
We've got a new wealthy owner now.
Good.
This is the way baseball was meant to be played, with franchises with wealthy owners going out and buying all the best players.
Yeah, that's right.
As long as you're on the right side of it, it's fine, right? As long as you're on the right side of it, it's fine. Oh, so what? On one hand, was a fun Sunday for me. Was a not so fun Sunday for me also, and that's because the University of Memphis Tigers.
Oh no,
my alma mater.
We're doing that next.
They were hosting some Red Wolves from Jonesboro. They were favored. Didn't go well. It's a quad 3 loss at home. I've removed the Tigers from the top 25 and 1.
Oh, great.
We'll run you through some numbers next. Gary Parrish Show presented by Ortho South.
Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Can't wait. It's time to get it popping.
It's going to be crazy. The fans are going to be loud. We need just energy.
Behind the back to Jared for the flush.
We're going to need, the form rocking. We're going to need, everybody in Memphis to be out there to come to support. When the fans are good, we're good. Simple as that.
A Bain three. Yes, sir. Desmond Bain with ice water in his veins.
We'll ride the energy together.
How about them Tigers? Go.
Beat Tulane in a game that nobody called. Nobody thought was going to happen. They were a 2-touchdown underdog, and they got the win.
Number 25 in the AP right now, number 24 in the coaches poll right now. So this is a Tigers football team that's going to end the regular season ranked in both major polls, possibly ranked in the CFP as well, with 10 wins. That's a damn good season.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
ESPN put out a list. Top 30 best pro wrestlers under 30 in the world today. Number 1, Dirty Dom. Number 2, MJF.
I think Dom is deserving to be number 1. I think he is probably, like I said, one of the greatest heels in the last 10, 15 years. Like you said, he can't talk on the microphone.
The fans love it because they feel like they're a part of the show.
And that's the best.
Without their booze, he's not the best heel.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Who will
lead the Grizz in steals this season?
I'm going to go with Pippen for steals this season.
So I'm going to go with Jaren.
I'm going to go, as long as he's in the rotation, I'm going to go Jake LaRavia for total steals, and I'll have Marcus Smart in my back pocket for steals per game.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizz Beat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Yellow laces, really bright yellow primary color. You got black on the trim and on the edges.
I gotta get 'em.
And you got some red there as well. Look at that right there, Mike. Look at that right there.
Man, look at that G. Look at that G, boy. That G is moving strong right there, too, man.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either. That's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays, in the evenings, and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in, and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's orthosouth at orthosouth.org. Now I got no.
No, you don't.
I'm way out of whack here. When you do something a certain way 4 days a week,
yeah, that's
and then
right.
on the other day you do it different, you can get into some weird habits. We're gonna get to that later.
Okay.
Right now we're talking Tiger basketball.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good day on Sunday.
It was not. I think it was a cold, rainy, gloomy Sunday. I think a lot of us were sleepwalking through the day yesterday, and apparently so were the Memphis Tigers.
Specifically, Tyrese Hunter, I guess.
Yeah.
Final score, Arkansas State 85, Memphis 72. That's a quad 3 loss at home that damaged your computer numbers, forced me to remove you from the CBS Sports Top 25 and 1, and could cost you your ranking in the AP poll later on today when that updates. Why'd they do that? Why'd they lose to Arkansas State? Things were going so well. We were excited. We were happy. We were growing confident. And then you got smacked around by the Red Wolves in your home building. Why do you think they did that?
I don't know.
It was a poor decision.
It was a poor decision. Yes, it was. The one thing, like if I could be positive about like the season ahead, it would be, I do think that when he says that this team is not like last year's team, and again, we got to see it. I do tend to believe that. Like, I do think this team will be more resilient than last year's team was. When they got smacked with adversity, they just completely folded. I don't think it'll go like that this year. But the one thing that like concerned me yesterday, and just looking back on the past couple games, is like you mentioned Tyrese Hunter. He had a bad game yesterday. If one of those two guys, him or PJ Haggerty, has a bad game, you're going to be up against it because you're just not getting any. I mean, Kobe Rogers has been good in that starting lineup too. and they bring Danger off the bench, but besides him, like there's nothing coming off the bench, and those two guards, that's like that's a massive amount of your scoring.
The frustrating thing was they just didn't show up in the first half. They're just down. It's like, all right, now we didn't put ourselves in a fight.
Right.
This didn't have to be a fight.
No. That's because it was an even second half.
This is an Arkansas State team that had already lost to Rice and Hofstra. All right. So two things can be true at the same time. You can say, man, they might go win the Sun Belt, and Brian's doing a wonderful job there.
Mm-hmm.
But they should not be able to come into your building and beat you when you rank 16th in the country. Like, that was a historic win for the Arkansas State program. The way Penny was talking about his victory a week earlier when they upset UConn and Maui, that's the way Brian was talking about his victory over Memphis yesterday. He had a son at the dais, and it was a sweet moment. Like, I'm happy for Brian. It's a big moment, and he's going to be a high major coach soon. Let him win a conference championship, win one game in the NCAA tournament, and he'll have a $20 million contract in March. Happy for Brian, but you can be happy for Arkansas State and those fans and that staff and still go, that should not happen.
No.
And the concerning thing is that Memphis isn't the only college basketball team that had a bad weekend. Kansas went and got smacked at Missouri. But Kansas plays in the Big 12. And you can always make up for these types of things if you're a Big 12 school. At Memphis, you got a few more good opportunities in front of you in the non-league schedule.
You got 4. I mean, that's and then there's no opportunities.
Then it's just all you can do is hurt yourself.
That's right.
And you hurt yourself yesterday. How many more quadrant 3 losses are you going to take? How many more can you afford to take? You don't want to be in a situation where you're entering the AAC tournament once again talking about we need to go win it to get the automatic bid, because even if you would be the favorite to win it, and they almost certainly would be, nearly regardless of what happens between now and then, unless, of course, there's a season-ending injury to a key player. But Memphis is 30 spots higher than any other AAC school at KenPom right now, and 50 spots higher, at least, than everybody else other than North Texas. So Memphis can struggle relative to what our expectations are and still be favored to win the AAC tournament once we get there. But just like you just pointed out, you can get in there and be the favorite to win it, and then Tyrese Hunter has a bad game or PJ Haggerty has a bad game, and you can't score, and you can't stop the other team from scoring. Yeah. Now you just got knocked off by an inferior opponent just like you did yesterday, and then it's over. Now we're talking about it's 7 years of Penny Hardaway and only 2 NCAA tournament appearances and only 1 NCAA tournament win. I'm not predicting any of that stuff, but this is the type of thing that is concerning.
Yeah. No, and the league terrifies me, because, dude, outside of Wichita State beating East Tennessee State and UAB beating some nobody, the entire league lost this weekend.
They stink. The league stinks.
The league is so bad. There's no opportunities.
All you can do, playing that AAC schedule for Memphis is like walking through a minefield.
Yeah.
With nothing but mines in it. Like, it's one thing to walk through a minefield, but there's also like a treasure chest.
Yeah.
You might get your legs blown off. But you could also find a treasure chest. Let's take a walk and see what we do. The AAC schedule has no treasure chest.
No.
It's just mines. It's just, if you get past one without getting your legs blown off, congrats. Can you get past the next one? Can you get past the next one? You got to keep doing this. Last year, they couldn't do it. That's how they end up on the wrong side of the NCAA tournament bubble. This season, you hope that they don't go down that same path. And Penny yesterday seemed to believe genuinely that they're not going to. But the schedule doesn't set up well for them right now. Like, this could get worse before it gets better. Because, 2 days ago, you were 7-1, ranked 16th in the AP poll, maybe headed for the top 10. All you got to do is beat Arkansas State at home. Lose that. I mean, they plummeted down to 30 9th at KenPom. If you remove the preseason data at Bart Torvik, they're down to 58th. If you go to the net rankings, they went from 31 yesterday morning to 48 this morning. So they dropped 17 spots. And I thought this was interesting. Mark Giannotto, former columnist Commercial Appeal, now with USA Today, pointed this out. Memphis is 16-3 right now, according to his counting, in its past 19 games against power conference schools, and just 11-9 in their past 20 against non-power conference schools. A lot of that is tied up in the AAC schedule last season that they did not handle well. But there is a pattern there, if you'll accept it, that suggests Penny Hardaway and that staff, they are really good at getting their team up against the Clemsons and the Michigan States and the Missouris and the power conference brands, the UConns. But when you get them into games against the Arkansas States and the Rices, things get a little more difficult. Again, I can't stress this enough. 16-3 in the past 19 against power conference schools. 11-9 in the past 20 against non-power conference schools. So maybe there's something there. I don't know. But the problem becomes you're riding high, then boom, you get caught at home. And it's not as simple as, all right, let's just settle ourselves.
Right, we're good. We got opportunities.
Now you got to go to Clemson. You ready?
Who should be ranked, right? Wouldn't you think they'd be ranked going? I mean, they've got some nice wins.
I believe I moved Clemson into the top 25 and 1.
Okay.
So I don't know whether they'll be ranked, but you could support it easily.
Yeah,
I mean,
got you.
They're 18th at KenPom. So you go to Clemson. You ready for this? You played poorly yesterday and lost.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can go play well and still lose.
That's true.
At Clemson.
That's true.
After that, it's at Virginia. Now, it's not Tony Bennett, and it's not DeAndre Hunter, and it's not those Virginia teams, but you're still playing a true road game in an arena where a program has won a lot of games over the years. You could go from 7-1 feeling good about yourself to 7-4. Oh, and then guess who comes in after that?
Mississippi State. Yeah.
And then guess who comes in after that?
Ole Miss.
This is a really delicate spot.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think you gotta. Because again, I think like if you were to go 1-3, God forbid 0-4, well then you're like in a really bad situation where it's like you can't slip up. You can't slip up in conference. You can't at all.
If you don't come out of this next 4 games at least 2-2, we're gonna already be having conversations about at-large hopes.
Oh, God, help me. I can't do that again.
In a terrible situation. Because the Connecticut win's going to improve over time, it appears. UConn just had a good week.
Mm-hmm.
Beat Baylor and Texas back-to-back games. Maybe the Missouri win grows better with time. Although there's a better than good chance they just get eat up in the SEC because the SEC is the strongest league in the country. Perhaps San Francisco emerges as like the second best team in the West Coast Conference behind Gonzaga. So that can be a quality win. But, I don't know that Virginia is an NCAA tournament team. And the Ole Miss and Mississippi State games would be losses at home. Two likely NCAA tournament teams. It can get real not great real quick. Yesterday, all they had to do was play well, and that would have been good enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you don't come out and dig that hole, you're probably gonna win that game.
Going forward, even if you play well, it might not be good enough in these next 4 games. Like you could play well and still go 1 I think you could play well and go 2-2. Play poorly and go 0-4. And that would have you taking a 5-game losing streak into conference play.
Yeah.
So, I hope. How about this? We'll leave it here. I hope Penny's right. I hope he's right that this team is built different.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, mentally, and in every way. Because if they're not, this could go the wrong way real fast, and you'll hear people all over this city and folks nationally talking about, man, can you believe that thing that happened in Memphis last season is happening to them just the same way. You're not supposed to go into the top 20 of the AP poll and then, boom, miss the NCAA tournament. That's not a normal thing. That's what happened to them last season. They went all the way to 10 to miss the NCAA tournament. This season, they were on their way to 10 if they'd have just won yesterday. Now we'll see where it goes from here. But whatever it is they need to get fixed, they better get it fixed this week, because the next 4 are at Clemson, at Virginia, home to Mississippi State, home to Ole Miss. And if you don't play well, you can lose all 4 of those games. Have a 5-game losing streak heading into the AAC opener at FAU on January 2nd. Be back with 5 more things.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
There's no substitute for experience, the knowledge gained from having been there before, and the passion to share what you know to make everyone around you better. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy.
Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Looking for a fun way to get your child active and involved with the Memphis Grizzlies? Ball out on the Grizzlies home court at Junior Grizzlies Game Day Clinics. Presented by Ortho South. Get your game ready for the big leagues. The first Junior Grizzlies Clinic tips off November 25th before the Grizzlies versus Trailblazers game. Take your child's skills to the next level by signing up at grizzlies.com/Junior Grizzlies. That's grizzlies.com/Junior Grizzlies. Don't miss out.
There was a tweet from NBA G League that Cam Spencer was, quote, unconscious. Cam Spencer had 51 points on 75% shooting. The Grizzlies front office ability to find talent late in the draft continues to be a massive, massive positive for this team.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
How about them
How
Tigers?
about the Tigers?
Go.
Beat Tulane in a game that nobody called. Nobody thought was going to happen. They were a 2-touchdown underdog, and they got the win.
Number 25 in the AP right now, number 24 in the coaches poll right now. So this is a Tigers football team that's going to end the regular season ranked in both major polls, possibly ranked in the CFP as well, with 10 wins. That's a damn good season.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Yellow laces, really bright yellow primary color. You got black on the trim and on the edges.
I gotta get 'em.
And you got some red there as well. Look at that right there, Mike. Look at that right there.
Man, look at that G. Look at that G, boy. That G is moving strong right there, too, man.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Who will lead the Grizz in steals this season?
I'm going to go with Pippen for steals this season.
So I'm going to go with Jaren.
I'm going to go, as long as he's in the rotation, I'm going to go Jake LaRavia for total steals, and I'll have Marcus Smart in my back pocket for steals per game.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizz, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
All right, Ben, remember I told you I was going to be happy from going forward? I've already got frustrated.
What's going on?
I already can't do it. It's first world problems. I acknowledge up front. First world problems I acknowledge up front, Bennett.
Mm-hmm.
But tell me if this would frustrate you. You purchase something from a store. I'm trying to contribute to the economy.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
I'm trying to contribute to the economy.
All right.
I'm trying to do my part. So I work hard. I earn income, and then I try to contribute to the economy.
I got it.
All right? So I order something, and they say, hey, we'll deliver this, or you can pick it up at the store. And I say, well, since you're offering, just deliver it. I don't want to go to the store. Plus, it's kind of a big thing, and I have kind of a smaller car, and just, hey, if you're willing to, bring it to me. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Deliver it.
Delivery's great.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
So they say, okay, Mr. Parrish, wonderful. When would you like it delivered? I said, well, what's the first day available? They said Monday. I said, Monday's great. They said, what time on Monday is a good window for you? I said, well, not in the mornings because I got kids I got to take to school, and then I got jobs to do and stuff. And I'm probably not home till around 1 o'clock on Monday afternoon. They said, so could we schedule it between 2 and 5? I said, well, I got to pick my kids up from school around 3, but long as, we'll make that work. 2 to 5, have them call me. We can figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
They said, okay, well, thanks for everything.
Yep.
I said, thank you for everything. And I thought we were good. Now I'm getting nonstop phone calls while I'm trying to do my job. Hey, driver's on his way to your house. Hey, driver's in your driveway. Hey, where you at? And this ain't like a normal type of job where you can just stop and take a phone call. Like we're live right now.
Yeah.
Right?
I got you.
So I got to call him back during the break. And I said, hey, buddy, we're ready for you. Where you at? Well, I'm doing my job. Just like I told the person when I scheduled this on Friday that I would be doing my job until about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So can you deliver it? Hey, I got an idea. Tell me if you'd be so kind as to deliver what I ordered from you when I asked you to and when you told me you would, right? Imagine I order a pizza for tonight and they bring it now. That ain't doing anybody any good.
Yeah.
That's essentially what happened to me. And you know what this fella, he's the nicest fella in the world, I bet. I don't know him, but I bet he's nice. But you know what he said to me? I said, all right, listen, I got to get back to work. So just let's stop trying to figure out what happened and let's figure out what we're going to do now. What should we do now? How do I get this thing that I purchased and that you told me would be delivered to me actually in my home? How are we going to do this? You know what he said to me? You know what you need to do? I was like, this is great. He's going to tell me what to do. This is exactly what I'm asking for. You know what he said? You need to just stop by the store. I don't want to stop by the store. The reason I asked you to deliver it is because I didn't want to stop by the store. If you would have told me I have to stop by the store, you know what I would have done? Bought it from somebody else who would have delivered it to me. There was no scenario where I ever wanted to stop by your store. What do you think we should do? Would that frustrate you? That's what I was asking you.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is kind of a universal thing that people deal with, getting big things delivered to their house. I don't know what it is, but there always seems to be a breakdown of communication between the person on the phone and the person doing the delivery. And the delivery people hate the people on the phone.
Oh, this guy made it clear. He hates this people.
Every delivery person that ever comes to your house hates the people on the phone.
Oh, he made that clear.
Because they always tell him the wrong shit every time.
He was trying to make me an ally.
Yes.
He wanted me and him to team up
against the person on the phone.
scheduler,
yes.
right? And I was like, you might be right, buddy. But you ain't helping me right now because you're telling me I need to go to the store. So you're not my ally.
Yeah, you lost me.
You're not. You
had
lost
me for a second.
You had me for a second. I was ready to align with you against the scheduler, but not when your solution is go to the store.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to the store. All right. Look at me. Normally, I look more serious than this.
Show up to the store like that today.
Yeah. Normally, I don't dress like this. But I don't know that I could. But look at me.
Yeah.
And imagine me dressed more seriously. Do I, under those circumstances, do I look like a person who's just going to go to the store?
I think you got no other choice, bro.
I don't even go get my groceries anymore.
Yeah, well, come on.
You think I'm going to get this big thing?
I get it.
It's just, I hold myself to a certain standard.
Mm-hmm. But they see you can't.
When I tell people things are going to go a certain way, I do my best to make them go that way. And if they don't, I take responsibility for it. And I hold everybody else in my life, including delivery people, to that same standard. If you tell me something's going to go a certain way, I expect it to go that way. And when it doesn't, somebody needs to take responsibility and make it right. The solution cannot be to tell me to go to the store.
We don't live in that world anymore.
That's not the solution.
We don't live in that world anymore.
Well, you should just drop by the store. I don't want to drop by the store.
We got a real issue going on with these deliveries, man. I'm telling you.
But
the windows are always wrong. The windows are always wrong. The person on the phone, we need to hold these people on the phone accountable. I don't know where they are. I don't know what they're doing. But I swear every delivery driver that's ever been in my house, they've had issues with the person on the phone.
Should I make a point? Tell me if I should make a point. Do I need to stand on something here? Do I say, you know what? If you can't do better than this, I will buy this thing from somebody else. You're not.
I don't think they'll care.
You're not. They don't care.
They don't
Nobody
care.
ever
That's
cares.
the problem. Is you think you're getting them and they don't care.
They don't care. That's the problem. You ain't hurt nobody but yourself. It'll cause me more trouble.
That's the problem.
To go through that than it will cause them trouble. There's a part of me who wants to say, hey, if you can't do better than this, you're not the only people who sell this. I'll buy this from somebody else. All right, I'll give somebody else my business.
Yeah.
And you know what they'll probably say? Okay. That's whatever.
That's always been a great line, like to the consumer. Like that's always been a great line in our heads. Like I'll take my business somewhere. The people don't care. They don't care.
I did this one time. We were at a little baseball tournament this summer, or whenever, and we were out of town. And there was this little restaurant that I had found in this little community that had gotten really a little bit of national attention. And it was
hidden gem.
Yeah, a little bit. And I went there, and I thought it was really good, and also just it was just sort of a neat little place.
Okay.
So, you got 3 hours between games. I'm like, hey, everybody's gonna go get lunch. I said, hey, I know a little spot that I found last time we were here. We should just take the whole team there if they can accommodate it. I said, let me call them and see if they can accommodate us, and if they can, then we'll all go there. So everybody's like, okay. So I call them, and I said, hey, got a baseball team. It's probably, 10 kids, 20 parents. We might party of 40 type of deal. Can you accommodate us if we're there in 30 minutes? They said, come on, we got you. I said, awesome. This place is 15 minutes away.
Okay.
I don't know. You'll get there someday, but it ain't fun taking a caravan of baseball players further than you need to.
Yeah, I got you.
If there's a Mexican restaurant 2 minutes from the baseball complex, that's typically where you're going to end up. But it's like, hey, GP found this cool place, and he says it's great, and he called. He's got us. They're going to take us. Let's all go there. Come on, everybody. We drive all the way. I walk in, and they act like they don't. They act like it never happened. I said, yeah, my name's
I called.
Gary Parrish. We got a party of 40. They were like, party of 40? I said, yeah, I called 30 minutes ago. I talked to a woman on the phone. She said, come on down. And then she was like, who? I was like, I don't know who I talked to. Like, who answers the phone here? Well, this seems like something you should know, not me. When the phone rings in your building, who answers it? It was probably that person. Well, she shouldn't have told you that. Well, what? Well, so what are we supposed to do now? Well, you can see we don't have space. Yeah, I noticed when I walked in. But, like, so what are we supposed to do now? And they were like, well, you could just wait. And I was like, you know what? We're not going to wait. And it's no big deal. And I know this isn't your fault. This is actually what I said. But, like, it's kind of wild to tell people, 40 people, to come here. And then when they get here, act like there's nothing you can do. So we're not going to wait. We'll take 40 people next door. And we'll spend all of that money over here. And you know what she said?
Okay.
Take care. She just looked at me like, okay, man, I don't give a shit. Go. And I felt so small.
You think you got it with it? We'll take our business elsewhere. No. Go for it.
Yeah, they were like,
take your ass
hey,
over there.
Are you threatening me with not letting
40 screaming kids in here?
10 7-year-olds running around everywhere? You really not going to have them in my restaurant? Okay, fine.
Oh, man.
So I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, Bennett.
Good luck.
Life is filled with challenges.
Yeah, that's right.
Everybody's going through their own stuff, and this is mine today.
Mm-hmm.
This is mine today.
This is the burden you got to bear.
This is what I'm carrying around today. I've got a delivery dilemma. I'll make it out. Let's do 5 more things you need to know.
Okay, let's go.
All right.
Number 1.
The first ever 12-team college football playoff bracket has been finalized. It's set. It includes, you ready for this? 2 schools coached by former Memphis assistants. It includes another school that was in a conference with Memphis just a minute ago. But it does not include Alabama, Ole Miss, or Miami. And folks have finally, I think, realized that given the 4 highest rated conference champions, first round buys plus the top 4 seeds in the bracket creates more problems than it solves. I don't think they thought this through when they committed to this. So a lot of people are now frustrated both with the makeup of the bracket and with the theoretical pass for certain teams in the bracket. Ben, let me ask you this.
Yes.
The biggest question from the weekend involved SMU and Alabama for the final spot. The committee went with SMU. Did they get it right?
I don't know if they got it right, but I like the decision. I do. And the reason being is because, first off, if you're Alabama, don't go on the road to a bad Oklahoma team and score 3 points. That's number one.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that and expect to just get things handed to you. I know you're Alabama, but that's a horrible loss for that program. So, whatever, it's 1 loss. They had 3. Maybe they still had an argument with the wins that they have to be able to get in. But I respect that. It appears just in this first iteration of the college football 12-team playoff that they are, for lack of a better term, spreading the love a little bit with these conferences and just regionally around the country. Like, it's you got schools from everywhere, and SMU, they went undefeated in the regular season, like in their conference. And again, I know the ACC is not the SEC, but I think, and they played Clemson in a close game in that championship game. Like, it was tight. It came down to a field goal, right? So I think they have as good of an argument as Alabama. And again, don't lose on the road by Oklahoma by 1,000,000 points.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
And so let me just answer the big question first. Did they get it right? I don't know if they got it right. Mm-hmm. But I know why they did what they did, and they did what they did because they had no choice.
Yeah.
They had to do what they did, and I'll explain why in a minute. Your point about Alabama is exactly right, and that's why when Greg Byrne, the athletic director there, pops on social media yesterday and is like, we got to start evaluating
how we scheduling and blah, 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 yeah.
I understand reducing the risk of loss anywhere can be a positive if losses are going to hurt you. But as Dan Wolken pointed out on Twitter this morning, if you would have told somebody 5 months ago Alabama's going to lose 3 times, including to the 11th and 13th teams in the SEC, do you think they'll be in the bracket? Everybody would have said no. No, of course not. What are you talking about? You can't lose 3 times, including to those 2 bad teams, still make the bracket. So if we all would have acknowledged 5 months ago that's just not, then what are we talking about now? The truth is Alabama did this to themselves, and it's not in their non-league schedule. They went undefeated in their non-league schedule.
That's right. Yeah.
Your non-league schedule wasn't your problem. Your problem was your league schedule. And now, you know what SEC fans are saying? Well, our league's so tough that losses are just baked in there. You can be the best team in the country, still lose in this league. It's a point Lane Kiffin consistently made.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've lost a few times, but who wouldn't? Take SMU, put them on there, give them our schedule, see how many losses they got, which is a fine hypothetical that might illustrate a point, but you can't prove it. You're not getting anywhere. We're just talking in circles forever. If the SEC is now too hard, because that's what you're hearing SEC coaches say, it's too hard. Well, you know why it's too hard? Because your presidents and chancellors decided to bring in Texas and Oklahoma.
Damn right.
You ready for this? If the SEC doesn't bring in Oklahoma, Alabama never has to play Oklahoma in the SEC. Alabama doesn't lose to. What are we talking about now?
Yeah.
Buddy, if you want to look at who cost you a place in the college football playoff, a number of things could do it. It could be Nick Saban retiring. It could be that you didn't make the perfect hire to replace Nick Saban. It could be any number of things. But on the list somewhere is you lost too many games that you could not afford to lose. Most notably one to a bad team. Great program, but bad team that your league and your president decided to bring in. Mm-hmm. If your league's too tough, it's because your presidents have made it too tough. And either way, your real issue isn't anything other than you lost to a bad Oklahoma team when you shouldn't have. So this is what you get. I don't feel sorry for Alabama.
No, I don't either.
I genuinely don't feel sorry for anybody that got left out.
I don't either.
If you got left out, it is probably because you lost a game you should not have lost. In fact, it's almost certainly at the Power 4 level, that is the reason. It hasn't always been that way. Florida State just last year got left out when a lot of people thought it shouldn't have, of a 4-team playoff. Deserving teams can get left out of 4-team playoffs. I think if you get left out of a 12 team, you just didn't do what you needed to do to get in it. The reason I think the committee went with SMU over Alabama has literally nothing to do with they genuinely believe SMU is either A, better than Alabama, or B, more deserving than Alabama. Because it is true. If Alabama and SMU played on a neutral field tomorrow, Alabama would be favored in that game.
Of course.
The issue that the committee ran into is the weekly rankings that they do for television locked them in. Because if you yesterday morning decide to go with Alabama over SMU, you are creating incredible problems for conference championship games and for your annual weekly rankings. My point being this, SMU was ahead of Alabama last week. If you stop the season right there, you're taking SMU before you take Alabama. So then SMU loses a conference championship game that Alabama didn't even have to play because they weren't good enough to make it. Or at least the record wasn't good enough to get them there. So SMU loses on a 56-yard field goal at the Horn in a conference championship game that Alabama didn't even have to play in, and now you're going to drop them below Alabama? At that point, you got people saying, is it even worth playing your conference championship game?
Mm-mm.
At that point, you got the ACC going, hold up. How is our team in, loses at the Horn in a conference championship game, and then gets passed by another team that wasn't even good enough to play in this conference championship game, and that was below us a week ago? What? So you don't jump you jump Alabama over if you don't have SMU in and Alabama out, you're devaluing conference championship games, and you're making your weekly rankings look like something you shouldn't do. You ready for this? If they didn't have the weekly rankings, they could have woke up on Sunday morning, put Alabama in, left SMU out, and you can't really question them on it because there's no question to ask. If without the weekly rankings leading up to it, you can't say, but you had SMU in before the conference championship game. Because how do you know? They never even did a bracket before the conference championship game. All we did was monitor all season, wait for all the data to come in, and then we woke up on Sunday morning, late Saturday night, and we looked at it, and we did our conference champions, and we picked our at-larges, and this is what we got. But once you already have SMU ahead of Alabama, you can't logically jump. You can't do it the other way because you're tied to what you've already done. So I don't know that the committee got it right, other than I know they did what they had to do based on the situation they put themselves in with the weekly college football playoff rankings and their intent on not further devaluing conference championship games, because they have already devalued conference championship games. You saw that in Atlanta.
Yeah,
it wasn't full. And you want to know why? Both those teams knew that they were in the college football playoff no matter what happened, within reason. They knew that. So if your fans know you're going to be traveling to a playoff game and then maybe another and then maybe another, do you really want to travel to Atlanta for the SEC?
No, not without stakes.
Well, they didn't. And you had Georgia, home state school.
That's right.
And it still couldn't fill up that place. That's not normal.
No.
So you've already devalued conference championship games. If you penalize SMU for playing in one and reward Alabama for not, now you've got it all twisted up. That was the issue. That's how you get SMU over Alabama. The other interesting thing that I think any kind of smart person could have realized was going to be an issue, but it didn't crystallize for everybody until yesterday. You cannot make the top 4 seeds the 4 highest rated conference champions. That is a bad way to do it because it messes with the integrity of the bracket. Nobody thinks Boise State is the 3rd best team in the country, but Boise State's the 3rd seed in this bracket. And nobody thinks Arizona State's the 4th best team in the country. But Arizona State is the 4th seed in the bracket. And the reason is because the top 4 seeds, 1, 2, 3, 4, the teams that get the 4 first-round byes, all have to be from different leagues. And they all have to be conference champions. Think about if they did this with the NCAA tournament. Right now at KenPom, Auburn and Tennessee are number 1 and number 2 at KenPom. They might be number 1 and number 2 in the AP poll when it updates today. Now, what if the NCAA tournament had rules that said, but they can't both be 1 seeds in the NCAA tournament because the 4 number 1 seeds are going to be the 4 highest rated conference champions. So what if it was like Tennessee wins the SEC and they're a 1 seed? But then Auburn can't be better than a 2, even if Auburn is clearly the 2nd best team in the country because of these rules you've established for yourselves. What? It wouldn't make any sense. But that's what they do in college football. They say that Texas can't be any higher than the 5 seed because it didn't win a conference championship. And Notre Dame can't be any higher than a 5 seed because it doesn't even play in a conference. So you're messing with the integrity of the top of the bracket, and then it creates paths that shouldn't be created. Oregon is the 1 seed as an undefeated conference champion. Do you realize Oregon in its first playoff game is going to have to play either Tennessee or Ohio State? Oregon as the 1 seed in this bracket might be the smallest favorite in any quarterfinal game of the college football playoff. Why is Oregon's path suddenly more challenging than Penn State's? Penn State's the 6th seed. Penn State gets SMU in round 1 and then Boise State on a neutral in the quarterfinals. Penn State's path to the semifinals theoretically is an easier path than Oregon's. Certainly Penn State's path to the championship game theoretically would be a more reasonable path than Oregon's. Why is that okay? How did that happen? It all starts with this rule you put in where the top 4 seeds have to be the 4 highest rated conference champions. They'll scrap that.
I think you're right.
Perhaps before next year. Because if you didn't know it was going to create issues in the bracket before yesterday, once that bracket came out and you started really looking at it, then you realized pretty quickly, Boise State, congratulations, incredible season. They should not be the 3 seed in a tournament designed to crown a national champion. What that implies, based on normal tournament stuff we're used to, is that that's the 3rd best team in the country. And nobody thinks of them that way. I don't even think they think of themselves as that way. But based on the way we have to do it, based on the criteria, that's where they're seated. It creates problems elsewhere in the bracket. We're gonna have to redo all this before, I think, even year 2 of the 12-team playoff. And eventually, just watch, as much as people are complaining right now, we'll take it from 12 to 14, perhaps up to 16. It won't be, this might be the last time we do it this way. The first time and also the last.
Number 2.
Golden Goal nominations unveiled this morning. Big Ben Bennett, have you been following? Have you been
I have been
scrolling?
following along. The leader in nominees is a movie called Emilia Perez, which is on Netflix. It's like a music. It's like I think it's billed as like a crime musical.
Okay.
But I've heard it's really good. As far as like movies go, that one, The Brutalist, has 7 nominations. Conclave has 6. Anora has 5. The Substance has 5. TV, The Bear got a bunch of nominations.
Sure.
Which we expected. And this was kind of interesting that popped up on TV as well is Squid Game, which was obviously super popular on Netflix, is nominated for Best Series. It's actually for this upcoming season of Squid Game. Yeah, they've seen it, right? It's
So they
not
say it's
out
good.
yet. Yeah,
Because I've heard other people express skepticism. Not having seen it and say it sucks, but go, man, I bet you this ain't going to be good.
I bet this ain't going to be as good.
But this suggests maybe it is.
This suggests it's probably going to be good because they've seen it, they've gotten the pre-screeners, and have nominated it as Best Series. So I thought that was kind of interesting seeing that pop up. Other ones that popped up, Shogun, which was obviously a big deal last year, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. What's that show you've been talking about lately that you've been on?
Landman?
Yeah, Billy Bob got a nomination.
He's great.
Yeah, Billy Bob got nominated for that.
We watched the 5th episode last night. It's good.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
fun. And how about this? It's an easy watch. There's compelling characters. Billy Bob's great. Ali Larder's great. The young woman who plays Billy Bob's daughter is terrific. Demi Moore, John Hamm. This is the first, as a Paramount employee, I'm not embarrassed to tell you, this is the first Paramount Plus show I've ever watched, I think.
Okay.
And I'm enjoying it.
Okay, good.
Billy Bob's terrific.
Okay, good. I want to check that one out.
Did you ever see the Fargo season with Billy Bob?
I did not. I never watched Fargo. I mean, I saw the movie, but I never saw the show.
The television show's great.
Okay, cool.
And I believe the first season is Billy Bob Thornton, and he's great. He won awards for that, I think. I love Billy Bob Thornton. I once urinated next to him.
You urinated next to Billy Bob Thornton?
Mm-hmm.
Here in Memphis or somewhere else?
New Orleans.
How about that?
Yeah, Superdome.
Huh.
Final Four.
Really? I wouldn't have thought
I think he was there promoting something or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I gotcha.
But it wasn't even like a media bathroom it was just like a normal bathroom at the Superdome. And I was just
He's a man of the people.
I was at the and I was like, what's up, Billy Bob?
Yeah.
I hit him with one of those. And he hit me with one of those.
That's what's up.
He seemed to be under the influence. He seemed
I mean, it's New Orleans.
Yeah,
Who cares?
that's right.
Yeah.
He seemed his eyes were a little glassy, but he had kind eyes.
Yeah. I've heard he's a good dude.
We didn't I wasn't going to talk to Billy Bob Thornton while I was holding my ding-a-ling and while he was holding his.
I got it.
But I did hit him with you know how you do one of these every once in a while?
Yep.
I hit him with one of those.
Good.
And he hit me back. Billy, here, let me show you exactly what Billy Bob and I did.
Okay.
Put your hand down here. Right. And it's one of these. That's exactly it. That was it. Anyway, he's great. I'm glad he's being recognized for his work.
As far as some of the other big categories, like Best Actor, Adrian Brody's nominated. Timothy Chalamet's nominated for that Complete Unknown movie, the Bob Dylan movie. Did you see him on game day this weekend?
Okay, let me ask you.
Yeah.
We're getting way behind.
That's why I'm just I'm not going to read all these.
Okay, we're going to say this and then we're going to move on.
Yeah.
The consensus is Timothy Chalamet must be a real sports fan.
Mm-hmm.
Must really know college football.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Maybe. But as everybody is glazing Timothy Chalamet, I couldn't help but, am I the only person that had this thought? If you can play Bob Dylan and you can play Willy Wonka, you can probably play, if they give you a little time to prepare, a college football analyst on TV. I bet it's harder to play Bob Dylan than it is to play Kirk Herbstreit.
Yeah.
Do you really think Timothy Chalamet knows about Billy Napier at Louisiana before he took the Florida job? Because this is the type of stuff he was saying.
Yeah, I agree. I watched his whole segment.
He might be, but what I think is more likely, they said, hey, you're going to be on game day Saturday morning. These are the games we're going to ask you to have something to say about it. And then he said, okay, I'm going to find out something to say about these things. Okay. Or more likely, Somebody print literally.
Sure.
That happens to us in studio every night.
Okay.
They print out things for people to say on TV just in case you need it.
All right. Then explain him picking the only person on the panel to pick Ohio to beat Miami in whatever the hell championship. Is that the MAC? I think that's the MAC.
Yeah.
He was the only one to pick him, and they blasted Miami.
I'm not telling you that Timothy Chalamet is a fake football fan, because I don't know. I'm just telling you it is incredibly naive to watch a guy say Billy Napier on TV and be like, he must watch football all day, every Saturday, as opposed to, you ready for this? If you told me I was going to be on NHL Game Day as the guest picker this weekend, I don't know anything about the NHL, but if you told me, Gary, by Saturday, you need to know something to say about 7 NHL games, no problem.
No, I think that's fair. I mean, clearly there was some acting going on, but man, it made for a good segment.
He was good.
I was impressed.
Everybody was impressed.
I am impressed.
I am impressed
I'll go
too.
see the Bob Dylan movie.
I'm going to go see the Bob Dylan movie too. All right, let's leave it there.
Number 3.
Speaking of Kirk Herbstreit.
Yeah, what's he doing?
I don't know. Probably playing with that dog, you know?
No, that dog died.
I know, we got another one.
Oh, okay.
Didn't take him long to find him a new dog, did it?
Moved on pretty fast.
Moved on pretty fast. We shouldn't joke about that.
That's not funny
That's
at all.
not funny
Why did
at all.
I laugh? No, I'm actually really sorry that your dog passed away,
I am
Kirk.
too.
Yeah,
I am.
Been there. It sucks.
It does suck.
Yeah.
His son is a high school quarterback, heavily pursued, and is just committed to Michigan. Kirk Herbstreit's Ohio State legend.
Yeah, he's an Ohio guy.
They live
He's
in
like
Cincinnati.
A Bengals fan, yeah.
Yeah, the whole deal. And his son's going to Michigan. What do you think about that?
I think that obviously, well, the first thing I think is he probably wasn't going to be playing at Ohio State if they were recruiting.
But here's the other thing that's interesting. You know, Michigan just bought the best quarterback in the country. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. So he's going to be behind him.
At least.
Yeah, at least. Yeah, I think it's just one of those things. You go to like the best school that's recruiting you, and I would be willing to bet Ohio State probably wasn't as big into that recruitment as Michigan was, and so you're a Michigan man.
I bet you there was a point, and the reason I want to touch on this story is not because I care where Kirk Herbstreit's son goes to school, but I just like the idea of this. I bet you there was a time where Kirk Herbstreit told himself, my kids will never go to Michigan, right? I'm an Ohio State man. My kids will never go to Michigan. I couldn't even. It's probably a point in time where Kirk Herbstreit hated Michigan.
Yeah, of course.
The way Memphis fans might hate Tennessee and the way Tennessee fans might hate whoever Tennessee fans hate, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the things you learn as you're a parent and your kids grow older is that none of that stuff matters to you as much as you thought it would matter to you.
Oh, right.
You just want your kids to be happy
that's
and
very
be
true.
awesome and whatever. I bet you there was a time where I couldn't ever have imagined one of my children going to Ole Miss or go as a Memphis alum. Like Tennessee, I wouldn't. If my boys want to go to Ole Miss, awesome.
Same.
If my boys want to go to Tennessee, awesome. You just want your kids to be happy and successful and in a good place.
Yes.
And I can appreciate Kirk Herbstreit either being just enthusiastic about what's happening or getting out of the way. Either one. This is your son's decision. Stay out of it. Don't stay out of it. Be there as a father and guide. But ultimately, I guess this is what I'm saying. If you have a child who really wants to do something like this, even if it runs counter to what you thought your allegiances were once upon a time, it is so much better to get out of the way of it and let them do it. And so now there'll be a day, we're going to see Kirk Herbstreit perhaps sitting in a stadium wearing a Michigan hat, supporting his son, quarterbacking the Wolverines, perhaps against Ohio State. That's a weird little thing, but I promise you, as a father, I think I can tell you this is true. On that day, he'll be wishing like crazy that his son beats the brains out of his alma mater. Neat little story. Young Herbstreit, going to be a Wolverine.
Number 4.
We got a new Dear Jane. This one comes from a man.
What up, Jane?
He writes into Jane. He's got a problem with his girlfriend. I'll read it to you right now. He says, my girlfriend and I have been together since college. We are now in our late 20s. She's naturally very pretty and has always been low maintenance when it comes to her looks, a side of her that I love. However, she recently got a new job in the city that requires going to the office 5 days a week, and things have started to change. Having worked remotely from our apartment for the past few years, my girlfriend was nervous about starting a swanky corporate job, so I suggested she go treat herself to a new wardrobe and dress the part. So she goes out, she buys all these clothes, trying to expedite the conversation. Buys all these clothes, also purchases tons of new makeup.
Okay.
She's never worn makeup. She's naturally beautiful. Now she's going to work. She's putting on all this makeup. And the husband's like, baby, I love you and you look beautiful, but you don't need all this makeup. So he tells her, or he's at least contemplating telling her, you don't need all this makeup. But he's worried if he's, in fact, he has told her, I don't think you need this makeup. And she said, it makes me feel good. I feel more confident. I feel more like me. This is the way I want to go to the office every day. And he's like, I've now reached a point with my wife where I'm not attracted to her looking like that. But this is the way she wants to look. Jane, what do I do? What do you do? What do you suggest to this fellow?
Well, that's you can't. That's a bad way to. You can't just like base your relationship with your wife on looks alone.
He's
like
saying, Oh, I agree with that. I agree with that.
There's got to be something more too. There's got to be more substance there.
Sure.
Yeah, and she's doing this for her career.
What he's saying is, you're naturally beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need this makeup. And what she's saying is, thank you, but you don't get to tell me what I need because you don't know how I feel. Like, think about this for a minute. Couldn't a million people have told Michael Jackson, you don't need to do that to your face?
Yes.
But like he felt like he did for some reason.
He
I don't
felt like
know.
he needed to do it.
How much ridicule would Donald Trump have avoided over his adult life if he'd have just done something with his hair a long time ago? But he clearly feels like he needs that for some reason. People make fun of this man for being orange.
Yeah.
But he's not just orange. He makes himself that way. He thinks he needs to be that way. We all know people like this.
That's
you look
true.
at them and you go, why did you grow your hair out like that? Why did you dye your hair that color? Oh, it looked better the other way. And the truth is, we just don't get to tell people it's not up to us.
Yeah.
Like I could say, Bennett, man, I like it when you wear the hat, but God, you look so much better without a hat. I think you should not wear a hat every day. But if you feel more comfortable with a hat, then that's the way you feel. I think as the husband here, you can express your opinion and then get out of it.
Yeah, I think so too. You can't push that one.
I think you express your opinion and then you get out of it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just going to end up in an argument.
Yeah, I think so too.
Let her be. And you know what? Perhaps it's just a face. She could be back to no makeup soon.
Yeah, she's probably not wearing makeup when they're doing it. So like,
well, I didn't know we were going to take it there, Bennett.
Oh no, I'm just saying, like when you're just like you're chilling at the house, like
just as long as she uses makeup removal before.
Well, he said physical attraction. That's why I bring that up.
There's probably a compromise in there. Wear your makeup to work, but before we do it, take it off. That's what you're suggesting?
I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, that's their situation.
That's their situation.
Yeah, that's their situation.
I think you could do that. All right. Here's what I think I would do. Baby, you look beautiful every day, no matter what you do to yourself. But man, do you know how lucky you are to not need all this stuff? You know that old skanky neighbor down the street?
Yeah.
She needs all this makeup.
She needs all that.
But not you, baby.
Yeah.
You look great the way you are. I think you could say that one time, and then you got to get out of the way. Just let it go. Right? Let your opinion be known, and then just get out of the way. And if she still wants to wear makeup, just keep your fingers crossed and hope she takes it off before you do it. Right?
Yeah, I don't like this guy. I don't like this guy.
Bennett's found him a new enemy.
Yeah, I don't like this guy.
All right.
Number 5.
AP polls should be updating soon. Rick Barnes' Tennessee Vols are expected to move to number 1 for the first time this season. And for the first time since 2019, when our old friends Grant Williams and Admiral Schofield led the Vols to a 23-1 start. They spent 4 weeks atop of the AP poll. They should start another run in, less than an hour. We'll get the poll when we get the poll. Be back in a second.
Yellow laces, really bright yellow primary color. You got black on the trim and on the edges.
I gotta get 'em.
And you got some red there as well. Look at that right there, Mike. Look at that right there.
Man, look at that G. Look at that G, boy. That G is moving strong right there, too, man.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Look at that. We got the whole Grizzlies team just infiltrated our studio. Santi Aldama's in the house. Look at everybody. The whole Grizzlies team. Look at Zach Edey's in the house. John Morant's in the house. Say hello.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Anticipate each challenge. Make a quick response. Capitalize on every opportunity. And win. Greatness won't wait. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st. And you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Southland Casino Hotel is helping you navigate to Santa. Win your share of up to $340,000 in free play or a 2024 Lincoln Navigator. Here Comes Santa kicks off November 24th. Get one free entry and earn additional entries for weekly Saturday drawings. Don't forget the grand finale drawing on Saturday, December 21st to win up to $5,000 in free play or a 2024 Lincoln Navigator. Win big during Here Comes Santa, only at Southland Casino Hotel.
Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quoting, call 800-522-4700. Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
There was a tweet from NBA G League that Cam Spencer was, quote, unconscious. Cam Spencer had 51 points on 75% shooting. The Grizzlies' front office ability to find talent late in the draft continues to be a massive, massive positive for this team.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt, live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball. But the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board. A class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
How about them
How
Tigers?
about
Go
the Tigers?
Go.
Beat Tulane in a game that nobody called. Nobody thought was going to happen. They were a 2-touchdown underdog, and they got the win.
Number 25 in the AP right now, number 24 in the coaches poll right now. So this is a Tigers football team that's going to end the regular season ranked in both major polls, possibly ranked in the CFP as well, with 10 wins. That's a damn good season.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
ESPN put out a list. Top 30 best pro wrestlers under 30 in the world today. Number 1, Dirty Dom. Number 2, MJF.
I think Dom is deserving to be number 1. I think he is probably, like I said, one of the greatest heels in the last 10, 15 years. Like you said, he can't talk on the microphone.
The fans love it because they feel like they're a part of the show.
And that's the best.
Without their booze, he's not the best heel.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back. Gary Parrish Show presented by Ortho South. Let's wrap this up with GP's Carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
Whole bunch of stuff, but let me hit you with some breaking news from the past hour. Out of Altoona, Pennsylvania, a 26-year-old man has been obtained for questioning in connection with the fatal shooting nearly a week ago of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in New York City. Man was obtained inside of a McDonald's in Pennsylvania. According to reports, a McDonald's employee saw a 26-year-old man and said, "That looks like the person I've been seeing on television." Like, recognized the face and called the cops. The cops showed up. They start questioning the guy. You know what they found on him? A gun.
Uh-oh.
A suppressor.
Uh-oh.
Multiple fake IDs.
Monopoly money.
They didn't say that.
Okay.
Including the fake ID that they believe he used previously in New York City.
Okay.
This game, set, match. They got him.
I think they got him. Listen, people were like, this guy's pretty stealth. Like, he has got it. Now, besides taking the mask off to flirt with the lady at the front desk, that was a mistake.
Yep.
But you got to lose the gun, dude.
You would think.
You got to lose the gun. That's like rule number one, right?
Like, if police want to talk to you, you'd be like, I think if you're that guy, you probably know if you reach the point where police want to talk to you, it's over.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, what difference does it make if you got the gun?
Oh.
Once they get... They already knew. I bet you what we're going to find out before the day's over, if they have known who this guy is, name-wise, since last week.
Gotcha.
In fact, Eric Adams, the New York City mayor, said this over the weekend. He thought he was being smart, but I think he said something stupid because he was like, we have a name. Well, that was something that had never been said by an authority.
Right.
He said, we have a name, but we're not disclosing it now because we don't want the person to know we know who he is. Well, you just told the whole world you know who the person is.
Right.
So what are you talking about? But I bet we're going to find out they've had the name for a while. It was just a It was just a matter of, can we find this guy? It just made no sense. This guy's face would be all over the world and nobody has said, hey, I know who that is.
Right.
That's Johnny. He lived 3 houses down from me. Like, somebody recognized this guy the second his picture popped up on television. So they've had the name for a while, and then it was just a matter of, he ain't using credit cards, he ain't carrying his cell phone. We just got to find this guy. And it was probably going to end like this, with somebody saying, hey, that guy looks familiar, let me call the cops. And once they find you, once they're in your face, you're done.
Yeah, no question.
So it's over now.
I think he's done. Yeah, you can't. I mean, listen, everybody's got a gun these days,
Yeah.
but a suppressor?
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah. So you look like the guy who shot a guy in Manhattan the other day.
Yeah.
And you have a gun and a suppressor and a lot of fake IDs. Yes, that's probably
You're
it
in
for
trouble.
you. You got to go to jail.
I think so.
Yeah.
What's today's biggest game?
Are you interested? Are you ready for some football? It's a Monday night party.
I'm ready for the Simpsons broadcast.
That's tonight.
Tonight's the Simpsons broadcast on Disney Plus, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are people excited about that?
I'm excited. I don't know what it means, but I'm
I don't know
excited.
what it means either.
Yeah.
All right, I'll get excited with you.
Yeah.
Let's get excited
They're doing
together.
the Simpsons broadcast on on ESPN.
Do you watch
Plus.
The Simpsons?
Not anymore. I was a huge fan when I was a
You know
kid.
what I regret?
Yeah.
That I haven't watched all The Simpsons and all the South Parks.
Of all time. I agree.
I just feel like
it
I
was
should've.
stuff that I used to watch and then just kind of trailed off.
Like,
and,
in a recent flight,
now
I even
can't catch up.
In
yeah.
a recent flight, I even downloaded a bunch of South Parks, like season 1. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm just going to start at the beginning and enjoy these.
You have no chance.
I just couldn't.
There's too many, yeah.
I didn't even start. I was just like, that's
All right.
too much. Can't do it.
Yeah, it's
Anyway, okay, I'll
overwhelming.
be excited with you. Cowboys, Bengals. We're doing it at AT&T Stadium down in Arlington. Bengals minus 4.5, total 49.5. How you going to act?
Bengals minus 4.5. You know what? I will take the Bengals. I just think that the Cowboys ain't going to be able to keep up in the scoring department. Plus, the Bengals got embarrassed last week by the Steelers. Like, I think that their defense plays a little bit better. I'll go Bengals by a touchdown.
7:15 kickoff tonight. ESPN, ABC. Bengals minus 4.5. That's the play, Bennett says.
What are we watching on TV?
Okay, normally we just go straight to Monday Night Raw. I'm not really interested in that because I watched a lot of stuff this weekend. I want to tell you about some stuff I watched. I watched the Sabrina Carpenter Christmas special on Netflix.
How was that?
Good.
It was good.
It was exactly what it should be.
Okay.
Exactly what it was. Chappell Roan was on with her. Shania Twain was on with her. It was fun. We watched it.
Okay.
It was sweet.
Check it out.
Yeah, it was fun. I finished the Girls Gone Wild documentary on Peacock. Joe Francis is a scumbag. My God. That thing was so much worse than I think.
Really?
Than I think most people realize.
Oh, okay. I got to check that out.
You know how they really got in trouble?
Huh.
They were paying 16-year-old girls to have sex with each other.
Yikes.
On camera.
Is he in jail?
I think he's in Mexico now. He went to jail.
He fled.
He went to jail.
You gotcha.
I mean, this guy's a real... the documentary's good. And not... I want to be clear. Because people hear Girls Gone Wild and it's like, ooh, you're watching the girl. It's about the scandal and the... How... What an awful thing they were doing.
Yeah, right.
Ruining people's lives. It's good. I would watch it if I were you. Okay. And then I watched Surveilled, the new Ronan Farrow documentary on Max. It was really good.
Okay.
I hope you know, if the FBI wanted to know everything about you on your phone, turn your mic on right now, turn your camera on right now, record you, they have the power to do that right now. They say they're not, but they have the technology.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah, basically what Ronan Farrow tells you is if you want to actually have your privacy going forward, you can't have a phone. Your privacy is susceptible. Literally everybody in the world. If they want to get you, it's Pegasus technology out of Israel. If they want to get you, they can get you. They say they'll only use it on bad people. But who's in charge of deciding who's bad people?
That's right. That's right. I don't
think it's going to end well, Bennett.
What's the best thing we've read?
Dan Wolken had a column in USA Today. He's had a bunch of columns about the college football playoff since the bracket was set, at least multiple. One of them was about how conference championship games have been devalued by the expanded college football playoff. He makes some good points in it. If you haven't read it yet, you can find that at usatoday.com.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
But tomorrow's Tuesday, so we'll have our CEO killer press conferences by then. I would think we'll have all sorts of new stuff to talk about there.
Yeah, I'm gonna be following this one today.
We don't get the Grizzlies again until Friday, so we gonna really have to.
We got a long hiatus.
We're gonna have to get creative this week.
Okay,
I'll do it. I'll do my best.
Sounds good.
Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll enjoy mine. Maybe back here tomorrow at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.